if you're here, you're wondering whether you should start with Maya or Blender to start learning 3D, or maybe you have some experience with 3D and you're curious about the other one, or you use a third program, whatever. The series is going to build a lantern with both Maya and Blender side by side, and I am definitely not the best, so you're going to see issues and complications arise, but that's fine. It's a learning experience. And for this first video, I'm just setting it up, setting up the source images that I'm going to use as references for the lantern in both Blender and Maya. Um, Maya here, we have alpha. We can make the image transparent and place the image in front of the piece we're working on. Um, I'm not sure if Blender has anything like that. I don't know enough about it, but I know it has image planes that are easy to set up. We'll get to that in a second. But first I'm setting up the top, left, right, front and back views for the lantern. And this particular video, I did all the work on it, double timed it, because it's very, very simple and straightforward. There's not a whole lot of explaining that I need to do for it. But all the other videos will be one-to-one time, and I'll be recording the voice at the time of the modeling rather than after like I did with this video. And here I'm just lining them up so that the edges meet up. It's not necessary at all by any means, but I like a tidy little box of images. We'll see if it gets in my way later. Altogether, I felt like there wasn't a clean assessment of Maya or Blender. Everything that I'd seen whenever I was trying to figure out which one to learn was either somebody who used Maya saying, "Oh, use Maya," or somebody who used Blender saying, "Oh, use Blender," um, or the generic, "Oh, Maya is industry standard and Blender is free and whatever." So I guess for those of you who don't know, Blender is open source, so you won't be charged to use it. Maya is prohibitively expensive, but there's a student version if you happen to be a student where you get a 3-year license that you can't make any money off of. But once you get a job, apparently the industry uses Maya, so you'll be a bit ahead, I guess. Um, Altogether, I'm finding they're pretty similar. It's kind of like, comparing, I don't know, apples and pears. They're kind of different, but they're very similar. Bad analogy, whatever. The point is, I do not have any professional opinion because I am not a professional. So I decided to choose which of the two I would use based on how much difficulty I had with this simple little project for school. And yeah, decided that based on how I feel at the end of this little project, I will make my decision and start learning that one, or continue learning that one. I have about 2, 3 months of experience with Blender and a few more months than that with Maya, but Maya was my first 3D imaging program. So this first couple of months was me not knowing what I was doing at all in the least. Um, I feel like I have about as much experience with each of them, just because the first period of learning Maya was OMG 3D, what's going on? What is this craziness? And this is me being a little OCD about corners matching up and everything. I think what I'm going to do is if I run into a problem, or when I'm going to run into problems, when I run into a problem, I'll just cut and uh, make a note of having run into a problem, or leave enough footage of me running into the problem for it to be obvious that I ran into a problem, and then it has no bearing on the particular software how long it takes me to figure out what exactly I'm doing. Oh hey, time for Blender. Um, but if I take forever to find a solution, well, I guess that could be an advantage for Blender. Blender has a much more active community, um, so it probably will take me less time to find a solution for a problem I run into in Blender than Maya. And there we got the image planes in Blender, which by default, whatever view you're in, they're going to be behind your object, which means in order to see them, you have to put your object into transparency, which I don't really like, but it works. So, I don't know. It's just different versions of the same thing to me. I don't know enough to really make a better assessment than that. You will notice that this portion of the video, the Blender portion, goes a lot quicker. It was a lot easier to set up and a lot quicker to get everything into the places that I wanted them. So yeah, that's about all I really have to say for this particular episode. I am definitely a novice. We will all be assessing this together. Yeah, that's about it. Um, my professor prefers Blender, if that matters to anyone. He just made the jump from last semester to this semester, going from Maya to Blender because it's open source. If you make stuff, you can sell it as resources online um, without having to worry about the whole, you know, Autodesk going, hey, that's mine. You can't use that without our permission or paying us thousands of dollars. Blah. Have a good one.